What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight on a special MCF Quickie, Cowboys Quickie here.
Yeah, kicking off a brand new week on MCF.
That's right. So take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at My Cowboys Family, and hop in the Discord. Link for that's in the description box down below.
Yeah, guys. So kicking off a new week, we got to, of course, announce the champions, but we got to talk about some interesting stuff behind the scenes in the Cowboy draft room, for example, when it comes to the takeover of Stephen Jones and the hands we are in when it comes to going forward with this team and beyond. So you will hear about that. Speaking of going forward and beyond, what's the deal with the defensive coordinator spot? A little bit of news there, little trinkets of information. So, of course, a little bit about the draft as well. Today's a little bit. It's a little quickie. So we're going to, tomorrow we're not live, but tonight we are for an under-hour stream, I guess you can call it, right? So before we get it rolling, baby, and get into the news, info, and updates, let's talk about the champions of the board. Like a lot of repeat champions, a lot of back-to-back, like the Dallas Cowboys of the 90s kind of champions representing the board. Starting at the bottom, you see him right there, the sponsor of the week, Mr. Mark Hovsepian, all the way from Hawaii.
Mahalo to him, repping it back-to-back like our 90s Cowboys there. And, of course, if you look up above, he's also bossing that stream around with 96 points.
Well, currently Neville Gallimore. We'll see if that changes. But much love to Mark, representing both those boards. You got other boards represented here, like the gifting championship board, the membership gifting board, which JD from DC is also
repping it back-to-back.
Going back-to-back like our 90s Cowboys. Much love to JD from DC. Had 20 gifted memberships. A lot of great family members in the chat getting some of bonus Navy Blue Crew memberships. So appreciate the man, JD from DC, repping that star in enemy territory. Not 1 week, but 2 weeks in a row, back-to-back like our 90s Cowboys. Of course, that board is reset this week. We're at 0 now. There's nobody on that board yet. We do have a leader. Well, let's go with the queen of the Cash App. The Cash App queen, right? Eastside Harold. It's Marissa Sparkle in the house. Appreciate her. A star-level member here. And, she's been the queen before. Remember that. So, again, this time in dominating fashion, she took over that crown. Much love to Marissa Sparkle. There is a leader, though, on the overall board and the Cash App board. Who would that be, baby? Who made that be?
Snug X. And you know why he's here.
Yes. He dropped a $20 holler earlier today to kick off the week. So, hey, he's already on the board on the Cash App. 20 on it, that Tony Pollard. He's in first place on the overall board. Will he take that sponsor of the week from Mark Hovsepian? We shall see. Either way, appreciate you, Snug. As always, go Cowboys. Now, there's different ways of dropping the love here, whether it's a super chat, whether it's a thanks button, I guess you could say drop through there. You have, of course, jumping in the memberships. And you have gifting memberships. But there's 4 of the ways that go towards the Cash App side of things. That crown, that the queen of the Cash App, Marissa, is representing right now. And Snug X trying to take that crown as the king, right? So we'll see what happens. But how do people get in that mix? There's 4 different ways.
Of course, if you have the Cash App money sign My Cowboys Family, you have the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and last but not least, the Streamlabs link lets your comment show up on screen like a super chat.
A lot of different ways to help the channel out. Of course, we'll get to you guys when we hear back from the Lunatic. He was our big winner when it came to the star level raffles. Yeah, you know it, guys. We did it one last night. The Lunatic with the big winner. And again, with the Stephanie Willis jersey, still no response from her. Just kind of waiting on what the Lunatic wants to do with that jersey as well. We re-raffle that one.
Yeah, he's the man there.
Yeah, and again, the Lunatic gets a jersey raffle, but he might want to re-raffle that as well. I know he usually throws them back in the mix, so we shall see what happens. I'm sure we might have a couple jerseys, at least one jersey maybe 2, up for a raffle here in the next week or so. So we'll discuss that here and get it down and finished up, wrapped up here. When do we hear back from the man, the Lunatic, the Godfather at MCF? So again, appreciate him. Appreciate everybody in the house. And baby, we have to also shout out those on the top of the board when it comes to that star level family membership here, right?
Yes.
So star level over everything. You got some shout outs on the nightly. So without further ado, baby, who are the, I think 8 right now, family members in the top shelf memberships?
Thank you to Skeptical Fan, Jason Renfro, Lincoln Kane, Mary Alvarez, Andy Potched, Marissa Sparkle, Dwayne Broussard, and The Lunatic.
Yeah. Much love to everybody in the house. Appreciate you all. Hit the like, subscribe, notification bell. And baby, who's in the house with us live tonight as we do a Cowboy Quickie?
We have Juan Carlos, hello and hi. Double R representing.
Yeah.
Rolando Rodriguez in the
Hell
house.
yeah.
Even you, Leaside Harold. Chris Davis, what's up? WTP Niners, yeah. MCF After Dark, I wonder who that is.
Hey, you go see a little. If you guys go and find After Dark, you'll be able to watch a little After Dark, and it was gonna happen. It was gonna happen no matter what. Eastside Harold, mosh, no mosh. You know how that goes. But mosh is always welcome. Cowboys mosh. That's what jerseys we're repping here. So appreciate mosh.
Repping and showing love to the mosh man. Mike Aldana in the house here. We have Snug X. Hello and hi. Bobby Bottles representing. Fuego bringing the heat. Let me see who else is here.
Chris Davis. He's so right.
Rolling it back. Freedom first. Not first today, but still always here.
Brandon James stay in the house.
Oh, cool. Hey, Stephen Jones is just happy to see us, right? That's all.
Cool.
That's all.
By the way, Brandon James, yeah. We are all kind of, I know I'm rooting for the Chiefs to win, even though I can't stand them either. I really can't stand the Niners more. We won 6 before they get 6. And right now they're 1 game away from 6.
Yeah,
so that's
Chiefs, you know what you got to do.
Come on, Chiefs, pull this out. Win it again. Beat them like you did 4 years ago.
And you see Mary Alvarez, much love to you as well.
In the house, yes.
But that's it on my side, at least. Let me hand things off over to Mr. MCF so we can go ahead and dive right into things.
Well, we will complete our quickie in 2-minute style. No, here's the thing. Much love to Snug again. Starting off the week with the Cash App drop and taking the lead on the boards. Taylor Swift. A lot of us are like, of course the NFL wanted this.
It out.
Yeah, I mean, we all have been T-Swiftied out here. But the thing is that, again, I don't want to even talk about the conspiracies and the rigging comments and the stupidity of it's Taylor Swift. That's the reason why the Kansas City Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. Guys, the reason why the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl is because they got Patrick Mahomes, and he's unbelievable. They have Travis Kelce, who played out of his mind. They have a coach named Andy Reid. You heard of him? A defense with very good players and managed very well. I'm just saying, it's not Taylor Swift why the Chiefs are in the fucking Super Bowl. That's a bonus. Now, I will say, how much money has she brought in? $331.5 million. Taylor Swift influence has brought into this game since she's been with Travis Kelce. So, obviously, the NFL they're loving this shit. They're loving Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes is their favorite player ever right now because he was able to put the team on his back with that defense and get the victory over the Ravens to get in the Super Bowl, to keep that money flow going. And listen, like I said, why don't they help? If it was rigged, they would want the Cowboys and Chiefs in the Super Bowl. That'd be the best.
Oh, yeah.
Who wants the Niners?
That would be the most money-making Super Bowl you could have.
You want money? You want conspiracy theories? Well, then, hey, if the Cowboys were in the Super Bowl, man, not only is the Super Bowl going to make money, even if it was the Cardinals and the Chargers, okay? It's going to make a lot of money. But to make the elite monies that you can even double up that shit, you would rig it for the Cowboys and Chiefs, right? If it was logical, with Cowboys haven't been there 20 fucking years. So obviously they're not rigging it, not for us at least, and so it makes no sense. Now, yes, they're getting as much money as they can out of this. The Taylor Swift factor will be huge for the next 2 weeks, and in the Super Bowl when she flies from Tokyo, wherever, and comes back here in time for the Super Bowl, of course, going to make headlines, going to take over some of the headlines
for of having a private jet.
Yeah, but it's good. But the whole thing is taking over some of the football headlines from this thing. It is what it is. It can't afford that. Point is, she's brought in $331.5 million with her and her Swifties and the merchandise bought, ticket sales, watching views and all that stuff. She's bringing it. So you can't get mad at her for that. And the NFL can't get mad for them liking the fact that the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. They're going to make even a little bit more money with the Chiefs in there. I just wish if it was rigged. Can't you rig it for the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl?
Come on. What do we need to do to make sure it's rigged?
We gotta have Taylor Swift on our team. If she was dating Dak Prescott and we were out in the first round, I'm just saying, everyone would be like, "Oh, they rigged it against the Cowboys this time." I mean, it's always some kind of bullshit excuse. Either way. Speaking of Swift, there was a swift and really dramatic comeback by the Niners on Sunday night against the Lions. Unfortunately, because we really wanted the Lions to, at least represent the NFC first time ever, whatever it could be. And we didn't want the Niners near that Super Bowl. But in NFL history, 114 teams have trailed by 17 or more points at halftime of a playoff game. It's happened 114 times, to 114 teams. Only one of those teams was no longer trailing entering the fourth quarter. Every team trailed entering the fourth quarter except for one.
Okay.
The Niners on Sunday night, unfortunately. And, of course, it doesn't mean not all 114 teams lost, by the way, that were losing by 17 in the third or at halftime. But some of them had to come back a little later in the fourth quarter, right, in the playoff game. The Niners came back in one fucking quarter, unfortunately, and took the lead. Unfortunately, over the Lions, which it wasn't rigged on that side either. It was a lot of bad, over-aggressive coaching by Dan Campbell. Them's facts. I'm going to leave it at that. Now, with the Niners getting in the Super Bowl, one of the Cowboy supporters out there in the media, his name is Ryan Clark. All right, he's on Get Up. He's on a lot of shows out there. He spoke about Brock Purdy. And let me know what you think about this, baby, because it does kind of get back and relate to our quarterback, which, again, a lot of doubts on him, obviously, but he's going to hit the big money. I'm going to tell you about how much it's going to be in a minute. But Brock Purdy, according to Ryan Clark, quote, here's what he said, quote, what Brock Purdy did was separate himself from the Tua Tagovailoas, the Dak Prescotts, the Justin Herberts, the Kirk Cousins quarterbacks. The things that will echo in the eternity of football is what you do at this time of year. This time of the year. And I agree with him overall on that. There we go. We get the, hey, Echo. Echo. Cancel.
Anyways, sorry, that was funny as heck.
Yeah, but anyways, yes. I said the E word. That's why I said that.
But yeah, let's be real. Yes, the things that happen in the postseason are what differentiate you from, those guys that you talk about and, the guys that end up being talked about when, historically, right? When you think about, history-making teams and you're talking about NFL, Hall of Fame record type of shit.
One of those guys are in the Super Bowl right now. With Mahomes, right? Mahomes is the kind of guy that wins at this time of the year, right?
He is.
Guys like Lamar Jackson, like what's his name, Josh Allen, they ain't doing it like this. They win here and there one game. Dak does that once in a while, right? Justin Herbert, Kirk Cousins, Tua, they just don't win enough in the playoffs compared to the elites, right? The ones that make it over there. Is Brock Purdy really one of them? Last year he got hurt against the Eagles. We don't know if they would have been there last year representing it over the Eagles.
Agree.
At the same time, Mr. Irrelevant, right? The last pick of the draft a couple years ago, last year. To me, number one, he's done unbelievable things already, just as in his career, just the way he's done it. But he's been game managed by Kyle Shanahan. And I will say this, watching him play yesterday, he did, I would say, exceed. He definitely exceeded a lot of expectations on my part in the way he was able to kind of take over some things in the game and, I saw him kind of, take off running in smart times, kind of getting out there and extending the play with his legs. Something I wish Dak would do more often, and he has done more this year, but since the injury, it seems like things slowed down with Kellen Moore on that front. And, we started breaking out of that a little bit more. But again, it just, the way that Brock Purdy kind of was fluidly getting out of situations, you got to give him credit. Now, did he play a great game? It was a good game. But people are trying to say that he's already better than Dak. I don't think he's actually better than Dak Prescott. I think that when in these games
he's
where
gotten
things
farther than Dak
but he is not the team. So that's what I got to say. I think that Dak as an individual quarterback is better than Brock Purdy. I think that the scheme that Brock Purdy is in is 20 times better than whatever Dak has been in.
I agree.
And some of that's Dak's own fault. He helped the scheme, right? This upcoming season. So again, I do think that, while you can say that at this time of year, Brock Purdy is still playing, I think it's more of the team and the quarterback, at least in this situation. You can say that about Andy Reid and Mahomes, too. But Mahomes is actually a great quarterback, and Reid is a great play caller. So
I agree. I guess we'll have to actually see, though, how many moments end up falling on Brock Purdy specifically, and how many times he can actually get the Niners to that promised land, whether it's either getting them out of a situation or keeping the ball, progressing forward, getting the touchdown, whatever it is. The point is, are we going to see some serious quarterbacking from Brock Purdy? Honestly, I think he does a great job at managing what is given to him.
Right.
And not fucking it up.
A lot of great
But you know what?
pieces there.
You can see how far that can get you.
And
right? Take you all the way to Super Bowl.
Well, back-to-back years. Brock Purdy in his career with the Niners. Back-to-back years in the NFC Conference Championship game. Cowboys haven't done it in 28 years. So I'm just saying, like, Brock Purdy helping them. It's a team thing more with them.
Yeah.
But Brock Purdy at the helm is enough for the Niners.
The fact that...
to go back-to-back to NFC Conference Championship and now Super Bowl.
Yeah, and the fact that they couldn't get it done last year when he went down, too, it just goes to speak to how valuable he is to the franchise. You can't just plug and play
system,
any old random-ass quarterback in there. Like, you do need... whatever the heck his skill set happens to be. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, he is needed in the building. And he's done a great job of managing things.
Yeah. Yeah, so, again, when it comes to Brock Purdy, we'll see what he does when he, against better schemes. And he's done a great job managing the games. Dak Prescott sometimes overdoes it. Sometimes he maybe should go a little bit harder and maybe break away from the coaches in some ways and take more ownership of the offense. We can discuss this for days and weeks and years, and we probably will, especially with Dak probably getting an extension in this offseason. But quickly sliding over, just when you look at the FedEx Air Player of the Year, which is still being voted on, I think there's still 5 days left.
Okay.
Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy are both at 39%. Now, again, the MVP and all that stuff was already voted on. Probably going to be Lamar Jackson. But the point is, Tua is the third guy on the list, and he's at 22%. But literally, like 4 days ago, when this first was released, Dak was up like 40 to like 45 to like 25 over Brock Purdy. After this game, they're neck and neck. Again, I don't really care about who wins this. I really don't. But it's kind of gauging the way that people are seeing someone like Dak, who was the far and away winner in this thing, when it comes to the best quarterbacking of the season. And now you're seeing a guy who helps their system and their scheme and their team as a whole, helps them get to the Super Bowl with like the Niners. And Purdy played a, not a far from perfect game, but a pretty damn good game, keeping their team alive and not making the mistakes at the end when it mattered. And people seeing that and said, hey, you know what? Let's throw it to Brock Purdy's way a little bit more. So now it's kind of neck and neck. Again, just a gauge of what people are seeing out there. I'm going to mention something about their monies in a minute when it comes to what you expect from Dak, wherever he signs in his next contract, and then you guys tell me what you think. But first, what is everybody saying out there currently right now on what I've said, whether about Dak, Purdy, and on and on?
Throwing out there, too, the Niners have an O-line that can block also.
Exactly. No, they do. A fantastic offensive line, which ours... even though it's okay, it's not been as dominant as in the last couple of years. In recent years, it's been a lot less, I would say, dominant, especially when you have a guy injured or you have them getting older. It's just there's still too many holes in our offensive line. We're not really able to run it, do as much. But that can be, again, sometimes Dak has to do more, and he does, and he overcomes a lot. But even when he has a good offensive line, even when he has, even when everything is set in stone, there's always a reason why Dak and the Cowboy offense, not just Dak, but the fail and fall short. Just every year is another reason. So, Brock Purdy 2 years in a row, he's in the right spot, wherever it is.
Chris Davis throwing out there.
In the house, yes.
Brock is not elite. The Niners have, a run game and a defense.
Yeah, well, we were supposed to have a defense.
Exactly, and hey, let's be real. We were supposed to also have a run game, considering how much money we had invested in it this past year.
True. But I also think that I always felt McCarthy was going to throw more than run. That was kind of my thought on that. So I'm not surprised about that.
But we also saw how quickly not having a consistent run game ended up coming back to bite us in the ass. That's all.
Yep.
So and yes, obviously, the Niners defense is on another level. Absolutely helps
one of the better
their
defenses
team,
without question.
Get to where they need to go.
It's a team thing, though.
But Jay Duncan said, I would not mind seeing the Niners choke in the Super Bowl again. Jay, I really hope that's what ends up happening.
Yeah,
that's all I'm going to say.
We're all hoping for that, for sure. So, when you look at the Dak Prescott situation with the Dallas Cowboys, and people are saying, well, how much is going to cost for the Cowboys to extend Dak Prescott? How much is going to be per year average or whatever it may be? Well, here's a good gauge on things, in my opinion. All right? The baseline bottom of the barrel you get for a quarterback that's going to run your franchise, going to run your team, experienced right now, experienced quarterback, but not even as good as Dak. Like, this is baseline. We're talking about Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins right now, I guess to finish up his career more or less, he is currently, according to most reports, he's looking for a $90 million guaranteed contract over 2 years.
Wow.
So $45 million per year is what Kirk Cousins is going to be requesting here for fully guaranteed quarterback money, right? And that's what he's asking for from the Vikings.
Yeah.
To re-sign with them for 2 years, fully guaranteed. I mean, this man has had like 8 fully guaranteed years. Fully guaranteed, 2 more years at $45 million per year. $90 million total guarantees in 2 years. And that's going to kind of ride into the sunset, I guess, with that.
Yeah.
But is that a fair price for Kirk Cousins? At this quarterback world right now where we're in, is Kirk Cousins worth $45 million for 2 years?
I feel like no.
Well, here's the bad news. That's the baseline you're going to see at a quarterback like that. And Dak is going to be a little above him at the very least. So, again, a baseline for a veteran. That's what I'm saying. A veteran starter in the NFL, $45 million a year. That's what we're looking at. A veteran starter. A veteran starter is what Kirk Cousins is.
I have to admit, those are some painful numbers.
$45 million a year. So if you think about Dak, who's a veteran starter and a little better than Kirk Cousins, you're looking at least 50. Easy. And we know with the MVP type year he had against the opponents or not, it doesn't even fucking matter because they're going to use it to their advantage whether there's opponents or not. There's a lot of good quarterbacks out there that can't, just blow up teams like the way that Dak Prescott and our Cowboy offense did against shitty teams. Even the best quarterbacks can't do that consistently. Dak can. And that's going to be enough for Dak to get himself a $55 to $60 million contract.
Easily.
So again, $45 million a year for Kirk Cousins.
I can already hear Mark Hosepian coming in and saying, what the heck has he done to even earn those $60 million?
You know what he's done? A veteran franchise starter. That's all he has to do right now to get that is the baseline would be $45 million with a Kirk Cousins, which I know we all rather not have, but maybe some of you guys rather have Kirk Cousins for 45 than Dak for 55. Possibly. That's what it's going to look like for Dak Prescott.
I don't think those $10 million are going to somehow get us, like, the difference maker to get us to the Super Bowl type of thing. You know what I mean?
So you would take Kirk Cousins for 45. Oh, okay. I'm saying,
that's what I'm saying.
So Dak for 55 is better
than...
The
savings of $10 million there. Like, yes, I'm not saying you couldn't get a valuable player or make a move there with those $10 million, but you're really telling me that whoever you get is going to be the difference between, getting to the Super Bowl or not, because that's what I doubt. It's not, I don't know. It's
more, what can you do with the $10 million? What would the $10 million difference be used for? Yeah. And with the Cowboys, we don't do shit with it.
I was going to say, I don't really trust this team. Like, knowing us, we'll probably just end up rolling that money into already hyper-extended contracts or something like that. So, extend Trayvon next year or some shit. That's a joke, obviously, but still. Anyway, real quick, Bobby Bottle said, Kirk Cousins is crazy. He's better off trying to get the same deal that Seattle gave Geno Smith.
Again, maybe so, but he's looking 45 a year. So that's the way he's looking at that right now. He'll said Purdy may not be elite, but his numbers this season are really good. He does have good numbers in a great system they have in San Francisco. So we got to give him credit for being able to. Again, that's what I'm trying to say. If he's a quarterback that can do that in whatever system or whatever opponents you have, whatever it is, you got to give him his dues for that. Even if he's not the best quarterback in the league, as a Brock Purdy, you think he's not going to get $55 million a year if they win a Super Bowl when his time comes? I mean, he's going to get the $55 million, and is he worth that? I mean, he got him to the Super Bowl, helped them, right? So I guess but is he actually that good of a quarter? Should he get paid more money than Aaron Rodgers? You know what I'm saying? Or other quarterbacks out in the league that have been out here winning, maybe with poorer schemes or poorer situations around them. I don't know. I mean, we can talk about it for days, I guess, but I don't know if Brock Purdy is the $55 million guy. Just like some of us say, hey, is Dak that $55 million guy? Same thing. I don't know if either guy should be put into that category, but they will all be in that category because they're all veteran franchise quarterbacks, starters, and veteran starting quarterbacks for an NFL team. You're getting $50 million. You're getting 45 at the very least or more guaranteed when it comes to being a quarterback, a veteran quarterback starter in this league.
By the way, Double R saying Kelsey's going to do the Taylor Shuffle in the end zone when he scores in the Super Bowl. I swear, Mr. FCF and I swear that we caught him saying, I love you, Taylor, or something like that in the end zone, by the way. So, Chris Davis, by the way, funny joke there about East Side saying that he sleeps with the Dak jersey on every night. Yeah, so he can have dreams about a good quarterback.
Yeah.
So
he's always dreaming. I mean, again, they got a good one, though, I will say, CJ Stroud.
So, now, and the real final point, I think that really needs to be made as far as the whole Kirk Cousins, possible QB money contract there. He said, how do you give that kind of money to a player who has never been to a Super Bowl or a championship game? Veteran quarterbacks over the age of 33 need to take a more team-friendly deal.
And if that's the case, I mean, I agree with that overall, but the thing is, will a team pay that? If they do, then they're going to get that.
I think he has the Vikings
over a barrel?
Yeah.
The way the Cowboys are over a barrel with Dak.
They're not in a situation where they're obviously willing to take the chance on, trying to start over with like a younger guy or a rookie or something like that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, they're in trouble there. I mean, we saw Dobbs and others that couldn't really pull what Kirk Cousins could do when he was healthy and he was getting blocks. And yeah. So
back to you, baby.
Yeah, let's roll it in. It is a quickie tonight, so let's make it quick. Marquise Bell. Congrats to him. I mean, going from safety to linebacker, got a big award, I guess you could say here. When it comes to the HBCU Player of the Year in the NFL, Marquise Bell, congratulations. That's who he was named by Super Bowl Soul. His impact is not just on the field. Again, he went from safety, undrafted safety from FAMU, to get to the Cowboys, to play safety last year, and this year moved to linebacker. Did a great job, by the way. One of the better analytical numbers there from him at linebacker we could have ever expected from him. Again, he's a little smaller, so he got blocked out of plays, and we need more help for him there. But unbelievable job he did for the Cowboys coming in there, and off the field as well, guys. On the field, off the field, he represents FAMU athletics and HBCU schools with pride. So big time congrats to Marquise Bell to be named HBCU Player of the Year. It's a big deal, especially when you think about the way that Marquise Bell got to a brand new position in the NFL and did a very damn good job, with that move, with that shift over there as an undrafted last year. So
well-earned and well-deserved.
Well-earned, well-deserved, and big shout-outs to Marquise Bell. Now, the guy who helped him get to that spot, I know a lot of mal feelings here, ill feelings towards Dan Quinn after the last game he put up there defensively, shifting everything around, looking like crap, to be honest. So Dan Quinn, still a question, is he going to end up back with the Cowboys, or is he taking a head coaching job somewhere else? The Washington Commanders, Seattle Seahawks have the only 2 spots open for head coaches. So where is Dan Quinn? Well, we know today he was going to go out there with Washington and kind of get interviewed face-to-face, second interview, right? Dan Quinn happened to pop into the Ford Center there at the Star.
Yeah.
And check in with the Shrine Bowl practices this morning before he took off for his Washington Commanders in-person interview, which is officially tomorrow. Tomorrow is when he flew in today. So he was out there with a couple important people. Will McClay, we're standing out there with Dan Quinn. Brian Schottenheimer, the offensive coordinator for the Cowboys, also standing out there with him. There's photos and proof of this. So, he was out there with the offensive coordinator, with Will McClay, checking out these young guys for this upcoming draft. But he basically watched the East team practice today, a Monday morning at the Star, as preparation for the East-West Shrine game continues. And it's all happening at the Star in Frisco. So, just a little important info there. Well, we're looking at Dan Quinn. He just flew out. He flew out today to Washington, D.C. and the Commanders for tomorrow's in-person interview. Ron Rivera, former head coach from the Washington Commanders, there.
Yeah. Defensive
coordinator outlook. It could be, hey, he's the guy replacing Dan Quinn, possibly. Interview with the Eagles. They passed on him. They went with Vic Fangio. Now there's word, we heard talk about it yesterday, that there's a lot of interest from the Cowboys side in Ron Rivera as defensive coordinator if Dan Quinn goes out there to Washington or Seattle and takes that job as the head coach. So just a quick glance at what Ron Rivera can do as a defensive coordinator. If it ever happens, we'll take a deeper dive into this. As a head coach, not that great. Kind of Dan Quinn-ish a little bit there, as far as his time in Atlanta when you compare it to.
That's a great way to compare.
Yeah, I mean, but Ron Rivera got him to the Super Bowl. Got to give him credit there to the Panthers, getting him there. But forget about head coaching. Defensive coordinator Ron Rivera with the Bears in 2004. Remember, he was a former Bear player, and he became a coordinator there defensive coordinator in 2004 with the Bears. They were the 12th total defense, 13th scoring defense. So, above average defensively. The next year in Chicago, 2005, he had the second best defense in the league. The number one scored against defense. You did not score against that Bears defense. In the second year, you understand? He took them to above average to elite in 1 year. Mm-hmm. Defensive coordinator with the Bears there. In 2006, they were the fifth best total defense, the third best scoring defense. So, again, when I say scoring defense, that means points scored against them. So, dominating numbers 3 years in a row, really, in a way, in Chicago. And then in 2007, he went to the San Diego Chargers as their defensive coordinator, and they were 14th in his first year, total defense, the fifth scoring defense in the league. In 2008, with the San Diego Chargers, it dropped to 25th. That was a big drop-off there, 15th scoring defense. But then back up in 2009 to the 16th total defense, 11th scoring defense. And then 2010, in fourth year there in San Diego, number one total defense again. Again, two different teams basically having the number one or two defense eventually, building it up in 3 or 4 years. He's got a defense here that's already halfway built there. Already built to a top 5 by Dan Quinn. So in 2010, by the way, number one total defense, number 10 scoring defense. And he primarily ran the 4-3 scheme, which is what we're doing. But again, like I said the other day, the true scheme is really nickel defense. It's 4 down linemen. Or I guess it could be 3-4, 4-3, but either way, it's going to be, you're going to have 5 people in the secondary. All right, that's the way it's going to look. So you have 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, and 5 defensive backs. That's nickel. That's really our base defense. So, but 4-3 is what he works with. 4 down linemen more than the 3 down linemen and the 4 linebacker kind of set. So, again, just in case Dan Quinn, flies back to Seattle or takes a job with the Commanders, there is, Ron Rivera, who, again, I'm not the happiest about. But with our situation, our defense kind of built up in this direction, a veteran leader of defensive teams, it would not be a bad pickup there. Now, I do also say that someone like Joe Witt Jr. could be even much better because he really knows Dan Quinn's defense and can maybe take it to the next level. But he also might leave with Dan Quinn, whatever job he gets, as a defensive coordinator for the Seahawks or the Commanders. So these are questions we still have to wait and see upon when it comes to defensive coordinator. Still got to wait. And again, today we knew it was going to be a shorter step. We knew that the Commanders did interview Mike McDonald from the Ravens defensive coordinator side for their head coaching job. Seems to have a lead over Dan Quinn. But we know that Seahawks did the interview already last week with Dan Quinn. The second one, Washington gets them tomorrow with Dan Quinn. And again, you gotta bet that Mike McDonald is gonna be seeing the Seahawks as well, probably tomorrow or the following day. So expect something by Wednesday on knowing what's going on with Dan Quinn staying in Dallas, taking a head coaching job, and then we gotta make a move. If he takes a head coaching job, then we have to make a move to fill in that spot. Joe Witt Jr., is he staying? Is he the one getting the upgrade there for defensive coordinator? I would have no problem with that. Or is it Ron Rivera, a veteran defensive coordinator, defensive mind that helped 2 different defenses in the past to make, get a top 1-2 defense, but has been a head coach and, did okay. Of course, got to the Super Bowl like Dan Quinn and lost as a head coach, but has been kind of, not been that great in recent years. So let's just put it that honestly.
Yeah. So, and Jason, we have already reached out to the man, the lunatic, to see how we're going to handle that.
And now we're waiting for the lunatic for hearing back from him. As soon as we hear back, we'll figure out what to do with it.
Stephanie did not reach out to us, unfortunately. But the good news is the man, the lunatic's usually pretty quick about getting back to us. So
we'll probably have to re-raffle it, and we're just going to do whatever way he wants to do it. Whatever his call is the lunatic's raffle. And again, we might even have another raffle jersey up from the star level, which the lunatic did win. And usually he re-raffles those. So we got to hear from him though. So hang tight. We'll see what happens. Now, any other comments about what I kind of went through here, or are we, as far as Dan Quinn, as far as, Ron Rivera, any thoughts?
NDN Boogie's saying, Micah's going to follow Dan Quinn guaranteed. So, if Dan Quinn goes. Yeah,
well, he can't. Cowboys have his contract, and he can't really go anywhere. We have him until 5 years, 6 years franchise tag. You got 6 years of Micah, so he's got 3 more years with the Cowboys. One day he might follow him. But it ain't going to be in the next 3 years unless the Cowboys trade him or do something like that. But I hear you. I mean, Micah may leave one day, but it ain't going to be anytime soon.
Mike Aldana saying, I saw and heard enough of Rivera since I lived in Northern Virginia as a head coach. Like,
yeah, but again, he's not. He'd be a defensive coordinator, which I'm more curious of what people thought about him in Chicago and in San Diego with the Chargers when he was actually the defensive coordinator, which is what he would be doing for us if Quinn leaves. As a head coach, hell no. As a defensive coordinator, maybe so. I still rather have Joe Witt Jr. Don't get me wrong. He'd be a first-time defensive coordinator, but he knows the Quinn system. But Rivera would be, I think, the second best choice behind Joe Witt Jr. in a one-year situation, in a quick turnaround situation, because the defense, someone's got to take control of that defense, and Joe Witt Jr. would be somebody who could probably take it for a longer time frame, I think, for like a couple of more years, even if we do some mixing up at the top of our coaching, with McCarthy, who replaces it. But if Belichick comes in, he might be throwing out everybody, so we don't know what happens next year, if McCarthy doesn't accomplish the goal that he needs to accomplish, which is a conference championship at the very least, and I can't believe I'm even hoping for that. At this point, I am.
So, real quick, shout out. Big mahalo to Mark Hosepian, guys, the sponsor of the week.
Hell yeah, back to back, yes.
Gotta shout him out. Take a second to give him his credit while he's here. And, of course, not the only one representing, right? You have Marissa Sparkle as our Cash App queen.
Yes. Hey, we have a queen in the Cash App.
That's right. And JD from DC, of course, repping it on the membership gifting kingdom.
Yes, back to back like our 90s Cowboys. For this week, just one drop so far this week, baby. And it is Snug X Sparkle. No, it's Snug X, who's leading with the $20 holler in the Cash App, and overall the only one on the board, kicking off a brand new week here. Tomorrow we probably will not make it unless there's breaking news. It's going to be tough to make it tomorrow.
Yes.
So Wednesday will be the next chance to jump on that board. And again, we may be having a raffle here, so keep that in mind. Of course, we'll take all the previous, like if we do a raffle at the end of the week or something, we take all the totals for the week of our shows and put you guys in the raffle based on that. So, anyways, you know how it goes. Any other things on Mr. Dan Quinn here or Ron Rivera?
Bad Intentions said, I believe Dan Quinn was promised the coaching job of the Cowboys, and him giving up the 48 points, changed their mind. So basically, the Cowboys were on the, previously, MCF thought in the sense of, move on from McCarthy, install Quinn as your head coach, and maybe the Cowboys have cooled a bit on that mindset. So,
well, that's something we're gonna, we'll be hearing sooner or later from. I think sometime by Wednesday, Thursday. I think by Wednesday or Thursday we're hearing about Dan Quinn is already a head coach somewhere else, or we're starting our look for a defensive coordinator. Joe Witt Jr., is he staying in Dallas, or is he going with Dan Quinn? If he goes, will it be Ron Rivera? That's when the questions probably start Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We start talking about that if Dan Quinn takes his Seattle job or the Commander job.
So, let me see here. No, just kind of rolling back here. No, I think we've touched on all the comments here so far regarding this. So,
all right, let's keep it rolling.
Touching things back to you.
Yeah, again, where was Dan Quinn today? He was at the Shrine Bowl practices, right? And this is not about Dan Quinn. This is about what do we do, baby, when it comes to our, because we're going to finish this up here with the Stephen Jones situation. But how about our center situation? What do you guys think is going to happen at center? Because again, Biadasz, we don't know if we're going to sign him for the what did I say he was going to be running? I think it was $7 million a year for 3 years for Biadasz at center. Or we're going to try. What about a battle with Brock Hoffman and somebody else? Some people are saying CJ Bass could be another, or TJ Bass could be another battle there at the center position. I don't think that's going to be a good deal. I don't think Hoffman battling TJ Bass is. It's just more hype for the clown show, saying, "Hey, look, this guy beat this shitty guy beat this shitty guy, and if he beat him, he's great." That's what Jerry Jones is going to say and do. That's Stephen Jones is going to say and do. So, I would rather, if we don't stay with Biadasz, I would rather not have Hoffman and Bass compete. I'd rather upgrade the fucking position through, at the very least, a mid-tier free agent center out there. Or draft one. There's a bunch of good ones in this draft. So here's some names you could think about, guys, and let me know what you think. Free agent-wise, Connor Williams. He's a free agent from Miami.
Yeah.
He's a guy we had here. We know we don't bring him back usually, but he's a guy that has been now he's been one of the best centers in the league.
Yeah, and hey, we need some O-line help specifically. Considering that the Cowboys are, possibly not going to bring back Biadish in some capacity.
Yeah, I mean, so another free agent, Lloyd Cushenberry. He's a free agent out there. Could he be a guy you go in there and make him your starter, a mid-tier free agent? Or do you just stay with Biadish at this point, right? Mm-hmm. I think I stay with Biadish over those two guys now. There's 3 guys I'm looking at here to draft. There's more than 3, but there's a couple real nice names here. Graham Barton. I've talked about him. This guy is fantastic at center guard. You got Jackson Powers Johnson. Talked about him yesterday as well. For the draft, I think another fine center here that is an upgrade from Biadish, and it will be an upgrade overall once he gets rolling in the NFL. And then another guy here, West Virginia center, Zach Frazier. All right, he's one of the top centers in this draft. He will participate in the non-contact drills at the Senior Bowl, which is kicking off today, basically tomorrow. But Frazier is 10 weeks removed from a surgery on a broken fibula. So we're going to keep an eye on him. He should be good for the combine to work out and do all the stuff there at the combine. But, he's obviously not going to be able to play in the Senior Bowl, but he is going to be doing the non-contact stuff, the drills there. So just my point here is keeping an eye on him. He may drop a little bit in the draft. Do you roll the dice on a top center if he drops to the 3rd round from the injury? You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, I think when you heal bones, I think you're pretty much, it's stronger than it was before. So keep in mind, West Virginia center, Zach Frazier. So as an option at center for the Cowboys. When it comes to the other side of the line, the defensive tackle, let me throw this up there. I forgot I had this. The draft logo, 2024, in Detroit, by the way.
There you go.
North Carolina's defensive tackle, Myles Murphy. Now, again, I might be putting out some video on him soon, but he has a fantastic swipe chop, winning a lot of reps at the East-West Shrine Bowl practices. Very talented interior defensive line guy who has, listen to me, power and technique. You see it immediately, guys. So the guy here, Myles Murphy from North Carolina, University of North Carolina, he was just bowling over guys with power, just pure bull rush power from the inside, from the 3-tech or 1-tech position. So a guy to keep an eye on. I know we're not going to go crazy drafting these interior guys early. We already got Mozzie, but Myles Murphy, he looks like if he drops a little later, he's a name you might want to check into, and look at. Listen, there was day 3 at the East-West Shrine Game practices. The East, some names to think about. Omar Brown, safety from Nebraska, had a good day today. Anthony Gold, 2 good days in a row for him, wide receiver from Oregon State. And Dalian Holker, tight end from Colorado State. From the West team, Sundiata Anderson, edge rusher, linebacker from Grambling. So he'll be a later pick probably in the draft, but someone to keep an eye on. Ty Washington. This guy's almost like the other guy there, Malik Washington. Both these Washingtons, wide receivers. Taj is from USC. He had a great 2 days back-to-back. Jarius Monroe, defensive back from Tulane. Cam Little, a kicker. Yeah, you want a kicker? We don't need one. From Arkansas. But when you look at the West team, their practices, Darius Massaw from UCLA at linebacker, a nice day. He was, good pass breakups, had an interception, took good angles in pursuit, kind of an all-around coverage, run-stopping linebacker. Check him out maybe later in the draft. Impressed with receiver Josh Cephas from UTSA. And he has very good ability as a receiver to win at the line of scrimmage, any kind of press coverage. Edges Grayson and Gabriel Murphy put together some good tape. Both these guys are edge rushers from UCLA, and saw some good flashes of speed from another edge, Solomon Byrd from USC. And I keep talking about this guy, cornerback Quantes Stiggers. He's from the Houston Agronauts from the CFL, Canadian Football League. He's been putting up 3 good days in a row. So I'm going to keep an eye on here for this upcoming draft. Baby, I know we got our first drop of the night here officially on the board. Mr. Mark Hovsepian dropping that 5 on it.
Ooh,
what did the man say? Mr. Mark Hovsepian, welcome. Our sponsor of the week, 2 weeks in a row.
He said, I dated Connor's girlfriend/wife years ago.
I remember that comment.
Yeah, he could not stand the way the Dallas treats his players. I doubt he comes back unless huge money is involved.
That's another good point. We say we want him back. Does he want to come back here?
Maybe his reasonings have changed as well, right?
Maybe. But again, this whole situation with the Cowboys front office, this is part of the issues across the board, whether it's players wanting to come back or not. Some do. The elite players, they love Dallas. But the ones that are struggling, they don't get treated very well by Jerry Jones and the way that the Stephen Jones does things here. So, yeah, I hear you. I hear you, Mark. Much love, by the way, with that drop. First one of the night here. And one of the last ones, I guess, because this is a quickie and we're almost done. I do want to finish it up with very important information here, though. And I want your 2 cents on this. So, we got to talk about what's going on when it comes to the Cowboys front office. All right, as you see in the title. As you see in the title here, guys, the front office malfunction. We talk about it every day we talk about it here. The front office has been malfunctioning for a while. We know this. It's Jerry Jones keeping things going crazy in the turn of the century. And then Stephen Jones. Him taking over more recently. When it comes to, front office movement here and stuff. GMing kind of things. So, what does this mean? When your boy here, MCF, is saying, is Stephen Jones exposed? Well, yeah. Listen, guys, I don't know if you guys have seen this. I don't know if you guys have heard this. In fact, let me switch this picture here so we don't have this blocking half your face, baby. And, just wanted to see, again, there was a podcast out, all right? And in this podcast, it was through The Athletic, all right? And it's called About Them Cowboys. That's the podcast. They were talking about keeping Mike McCarthy and keeping him in place. Is that going to, is going to be the same old with the Cowboys? Well, here's the deal, guys. The guy who was speaking, who was getting interviewed in this podcast, his name was Kent Garrison. Kent Garrison. He's the guy that did all their media stuff. So he had access to all the Cowboy video and audio recordings during the draft and more things. But here, I'm specifically talking about the draft, right? There's a logo again, I guess. Mm-hmm. And of course, Will McClay. In this audio, you're going to hear Will McClay. He's involved in the draft. He's one of the main players in the draft for the Cowboys. But this Kent Garrison, and we'll listen to it. We'll talk about it for a minute, and then we will maybe even listen to it one more time. Okay? But it's only a minute and a half audio clip, and basically it shows the ineptitude of this front office and of this organization from the top to the bottom. And listen, we know that Will McClay can only do so much. Okay? We know that Jerry Jones runs the show, but we also know that Jerry Jones in recent years, listen to the last decade or so, has again kind of the power, I won't say ripped away, but being taken away as maybe it should be. But unfortunately, it's not Charlotte Jones, who probably do the best job out of all the kids there from the Joneses, but it's Stephen Jones. And when you're looking at Stephen Jones, we heard earlier in the week about Brian Brodus's, or last week, talking about how, the Cowboys are kind of, being run by him now, and he's running us into the ground.
Everything that's happening is more Stephen than Jerry. Yeah.
The mistakes, the issues, the main problems, it's Stephen Jones. And you know what? More proof to that came out today. And it's just, to me, when I'm hearing this, I get upset about the way our front office runs things. I'm going to shut up. Ready to hear this? This is an interview with Kent Garrison, who did the media. You hear what he does and how it's all connected. The audio, video is connected for the draft, and he would do the editing and stuff like this. He got to hear all the behind-the-scenes things. I guess he could lie. For some reason, I don't think he's lying about this. So tell me what you all think. Listen closely, and get ready to be in disbelief. Because if this is the way our front office runs things, and now with Stephen Jones, this is the way it's going to head, we're in trouble. I'll shut up, baby. You ready to hear it? Kent Garrison.
Yeah.
On About Them Cowboys podcast.
Will's got a lot to say.
That reminded me of something. When I worked there, one of my favorite parts was after the draft, going through all the tape of the draft and seeing who called them, because it's all recorded, like all the trade requests and all that. It's all just seeing, all that, like, so the stuff they turned down, when they could
seeing or listening.
Seeing and listening. because it's all the phone lines are, if you watch the secret audio, the phone lines are all connected in through the cameras too. So
Did the Lions ever try and offer him Stafford? I'm just kidding.
I know another line saying that I'm not going to mention specifics about, but there was a call about the Lions from the Lions during this time. And
Calvin Johnson?
The Lions called him and offered him somebody. And Steven was like, who is that? And I mean, it was a pretty decent name. And he was like, who? And the Lions
Megatron.
He's blah, blah, blah. And they explained who it is. He's like, oh, we'll call you back. And Steven just like hangs up the phone and just sits there and keeps watching the draft. Doesn't even tell anyone that somebody called. Doesn't even ask Will who this guy is. And then the guy calls back like 5 minutes later. It's like, hey, did you think about that? And he's like, yeah, no. Bye.
Yeah. That's not very good right there. That's very disheartening when it comes to the Cowboys and the front office and the way that this fucking team runs shit. I mean, listen, when you have Stephen Jones over here, right? He's over here picking up the phone on a Detroit player, a veteran. Now, they were joking about Matthew Stafford. They were joking about Megatron, Calvin, I forgot his name
Johnson?
now. Check Calvin Johnson, Megatron. So, who knows who they were talking about? Maybe running back, maybe a tight end, maybe a defensive player. My point is
still someone that Steven definitely should have known.
That's number one, right? So when you hear somebody that you should know as a GM or someone running the show during a draft for a trade possibility, and it's somebody that even the guy who's editing the video knows, how do you feel about that, guys out there? I mean, what do you think about that, baby? That's a major issue for the front office.
It is insane that someone this unknowledgeable is able to basically run our team and make the game-changing, team-changing, altering decisions.
And he discussed
hiring and firing decisions.
Did he again? Let me double check. Even with Jerry Jones, did he discuss it with Jerry Jones?
No.
Did he discuss it with Will McClay?
No.
I can't blame Will McClay for not making a trade. I can't blame Jerry Jones for not making a move.
He didn't even
When
Google
Stephen
the
Jones,
guy.
yeah, Stephen Jones didn't even bother to look up who the guy is. He just sat there, watched it. 10 minutes later, the guy calls back. What's up? He goes, "Nah, I don't want to deal with this." That's the guy running our fucking team right now. What the fuck, guys? And again, we can blame Dak and we can blame Dan Quinn and the defense and the offense and my asshole. In the end, it's the people running the show that make the issues worse, that make it horrible and make it almost impossible for the players and coaches. I can't believe I'm saying this, but it makes it that much more difficult for the players and coaches to overcome this shit because of people like Stephen. He learned it all from Jerry, but people like Stephen Jones right now running the show, that is going to corrode and end our chances every year. It feels like the way they're going to do this shit. The fact that he's not even talking to other people about this, like if you don't know who he is, then talk to somebody about it. You know what I mean? Like if you don't know who blah blah is, you would ask. So you confer, right, with the other people running the show. You wouldn't just make it. You wouldn't just look. I don't even know what's going on, and then just say no. Much love, by the way, Mark Hosepian. Did he just go back to back like our '90s Cowboys? Yeah, he did.
I believe he did.
Dropped 2 in a row, back to. And I got one more shout out coming your way too, baby. In one moment. But much love to Mark Hosepian, back to back. By the way, also back, fully loaded on the Stream Boss.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate you with the first $5 holler. He said, "Quinn is like all our coaches. He's not bad, but overrated." Seattle was loaded when he had the number 1 defense. In Atlanta, he had defenses ranked 14th, 27th, 8th, 25th, 23rd, and 19th. In Dallas, he had the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, but the strength of schedule, we had was 30, 10, 31. So he's very up and down. The front office is killing us. So many second and third round busts and dumb free agent signings. It's clowns.
And that's my thing. Like, do you see, Mark, all these issues we have, whether it's Dan Quinn, Dak, all the issues we have. What's the root of what's the evil here? It's this motherfucker. And when you have a guy who's not even conferring with Jerry, with Mike McCarthy, with Dan Quinn, with Will McClay.
Anyone, heck, the Towel Boy.
No one is even knowing this is going on, except for the people running the film in the back editing shit.
And anyhow, you could look, and I saw Cleveland's comment where he's like, "Oh, well, it was probably just a joke." Like, This was look. He was
serious
joking
offer
when he
was
said
being
that,
made.
but
I
yes,
know.
a serious offer was being made here, and whether it was because the player was someone that he didn't even want to bother to get to know, right? Maybe it was the guy's position overall, right? Like maybe it was a receiver, just to give an example, right? And then Steven didn't even want to bother, to look into it or whatever. Like, why even entertain it in the first place? Like, you could have said no, or you get what I'm trying to say?
Well,
like,
he didn't have an answer for it. He didn't really have.
Yeah,
Like
but that makes it seem like, again, it was something at least worth considering. You get what I'm trying to say? Like, it wasn't just a receiver when we already were good on receiver. Like, I don't know. I feel like
I still think you bring it up with the other people at the table. Like, why is he the one making the full move across the board?
True.
Like, why is he making he's the judge, jury, and executioner? And that shouldn't be the case. Is he running the whole team? Does he have to bring it to the table with Jerry Jones, his father, the owner of the team? He's not bringing it to the table with Will McClay, the guy who's making putting together a draft board for your ass. That's the breakdown. The malfunction is Stephen Jones. Much love.
By the way.
Another $2 holler for Mr. Mark Hosepian.
A big mahalo.
Yes.
You know what he said?
What?
It's everything. Hyped players, coaches, and office.
Yeah, I mean, that's if it starts there, it's going to trickle to the rest of like a fucking cancer, like a virus. It's going to spread, and the whole mindset through the organization is exactly that. It's hype it up, pump it up, get competitive enough, and then whatever happens, happens. Jerry Jones said it multiple times. I don't care if it's bad or good. Just keep us in the news. We're doing our job, and that is. I'm just saying, this is why I blame Jerry in this shit too, right? Because Jerry is the original. He's the OG. He's the money. He's the guy making the moves, the clown show. He's got it all. The circus is going. He's got the money coming in. So I understand where he's coming from. But then you got Stephen Jones here, who is literally not knowing. He doesn't even know how to confer with others. He just makes the call. It doesn't matter. Position doesn't matter. Player don't matter. Offer don't matter. Money, no. He made the whole decision without allowing anyone else any information on that. By the way, I think Mark had an earlier drop as well. I don't know if we hit the second drop.
Yeah, we did. I remember. I read them back to back.
Back to back. Okay. I just want to make sure we hit him up. Appreciate him there. Also, baby, I also have to shout out the guy who's currently in first place now on the overall board. It was SnugX, who's also our Cash App leader, and Marco Sapiens, is behind him by a couple. Behind SnugX, but in first place with a $25 holler, Stanley Smith.
Woo! Thank you, Stanley.
Much love, the man Stanley Smith, dropping the $25 holler behind the scenes in the Cash App. In first place on the overall board, in first place on the Cash App board. You know what he said?
What'd he say?
Go Cowboys!
Always go Cowboys.
You know it. Much love, Stanley. Appreciate you. On that board, just like that, in first place, just like that. Stanley Smith in the lead on both areas there. Gifting board still untouched for now. Now, so again, as I kind of finish up, I do want to hear what the family has to say in the chat.
Of course.
I will play this one more time for those that came in a little later and maybe missed some of it. And we're going to end the show after that. It's an hour. It's a quickie in the books. But I want to make sure we get this out there about Stephen Jones and this just slimy kind of running of this organization to the ground. It's embarrassing to the star, and it is over Stephen Jones. It is over everyone. It is over everything. That's star over everything. When it comes to this team and this football thing, it's a star over everything. Stephen Jones, you ain't bigger than that. But you're ruining it. You're definitely trying to ruin that star. What is the chat saying, baby? Some quick comments.
Of course. Mark Hosepian said, does that surprise you, Mr. MCF?
Oh, shit. No, it does not surprise me. Unfortunately... it doesn't surprise me that they would run it haphazardly, poorly. That is not the surprise. The surprise is that Stephen Jones is not bringing it to any other consultants. Like, he's making the judge, jury, executioner situation there on a situation that you maybe have other input from coaches, from front office, from Will McClay, from other people that know more than your dumbass, Stephen Jones, and at least bring it to them. At least if they say no, but at least bring it to them, right?
Of course.
So to me, it seems insane. It's not a good organization. It's not a good way of running your organization by not consulting with the rest of the people in your organization.
Yeah,
Makes no sense.
I mean, can you imagine if someone somewhere, right? Like if Will McClay had some kind of like little dream list of guys he would love to trade for, and somehow that guy was on there, and we're just finding out about it now.
Yeah, and Stephen Jones don't even know who the fucking guy is. It's incredible. A pretty decent name player, and he don't know who he is. Could have been that cornerback.
So
who knows?
Real quick, SnugX saying Stephen Jones doesn't love football like Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones wants to win. Stephen wants to make sure his family never runs out of money. Our record season will fall somewhere in between.
You know, I agree on this one here with Mr. SnugX. I mean, Jerry Jones bought the team. Why? To make money, but also he was an investment. But he always wanted to buy a team. He loves football. He loves the Cowboys. That's his brand. That's his name. So I understand what Snug is saying there. When it comes to Stephen Jones, it's about just keep it consistent. Just keep it consistent. Not consistently winning championships. Keep it consistently, in the news. Consistently conservative when it comes to money, the cap and the pie and all that shit, and just act like you're gonna make some real good deals and talk a lot of shit, and then end up failing on deal after deal after deal, which is what Stephen Jones has been doing. We've been complaining about this for years when it comes. We know he's been running the cap side of things for a while, for a decade, but he's just been he's so predictable about his move. We're not gonna pay this guy this money. They pay him the money. We're gonna wait and see what happens. They pay him. Now we've gone through all that. Now we're gonna wait on CeeDee Lamb. We're gonna wait on guys like Micah Parsons. I mean, we'll see. We already waited on CeeDee Lamb 1 year, and look what happened. We waited on whether the Cowboys were gonna go with Dak or not. They had no other options, right? Instead of giving the extension last year, now we're gonna wait another year. So it's the bad management of this organization, and that doesn't surprise me at all, Mark. What surprises me is that not even Stephen Jones, who doesn't even know a player who he should know, doesn't even bring it up to the other heads. The other heads, even if they're all dumb heads, even Jerry Jones doesn't know what he's doing, or, Will McClay makes a bad choice, or the coach, bring it up to the people that know more. That's the point. Bring it up to them, not you making the decision and saying good, no, yes, no, or in this case, hanging up the phone basically on the person.
So, rolling back a little bit more, Mike Aldana said Jerry Jones needs to cut Steven at the knees for pulling that shit.
I wish. He's not. He's getting more power. Every day, Stephen Jones gets more and more power.
So, Cleveland Browns said, the Joneses, they love their homegrown players.
Yep, they do.
So, yeah, we kind of touched on most of the comments here relating to this topic.
I'm going to play one last time, just so we can all get one last hear of this. It's just a minute and a half. And then I'm going to say one last thing, and we're calling it a night, guys. So, let's hear this interview with the guy who's editing. His name is Kent Garrison. Did all the media stuff for the Cowboys and had access, of course, when he was working with them, with all their video and audio recordings. Let's take a listen to Kent Garrison, who was on the Athletic podcast about them Cowboys. Kent Garrison, take it away.
Will's got a lot to say.
That reminded me of something. When I worked there, one of my favorite parts was after the draft, going through all the tape of the draft and seeing who called them, because it's all recorded, like all the trade requests and all that. It's all they're just seeing, all that, like, so the stuff they turned down, when they could
seeing or listening,
seeing and listening. Because it's all the phone lines are, if you watch the secret audio, the phone lines are all connected in through the cameras too. So
did the Lions ever try and offer him Stafford? I'm just kidding.
I know another Lions thing that I'm not going to mention specifics about, but there was a call about the Lions from the Lions during this time. And
Calvin Johnson,
the Lions called him and offered him somebody, and Steven was like, "Who is that?" And I mean, it was a pretty decent name, and he was like, "Who?" And the Lions
Megatron.
He's blah blah blah, and they explained who it is. He's like, "Oh, we'll call you back." And Steven just like hangs up the phone and just sits there and keeps watching the draft. Doesn't even tell anyone that somebody called. Doesn't even ask Will who this guy is. And then the guy calls back like 5 minutes later. It's like, "Hey, did you think about that?" And he's like, "Yeah, no, bye."
And there you go. One more time we can experience that clown show, right, Mark? drops that $2 holler, fully loaded, 100 points.
Ooh.
Third place still, just a one behind Snug for second place. What did Mark say with that $2 drop?
Asshole. Beyond pathetic. Clown show.
There's the pick. I saw him right there. Yes, the clown show. And now the baton has been passed, the torch has been passed from Jerry Jones, who makes some decisions, to Stephen Jones. And you got those emojis. If you got them in the chat, if you got emoji options here, drop the Stephen Jones clown show picture, because that is where we're at right now. It's really more on him. Like Snugs, said, been pushing that. We've been saying that even though Jerry still is responsible for a lot of things and does a lot of things, we know Stephen Jones has been more involved. But this is exposing Stephen Jones's ineptitude and inability to do his job properly, which is make sure you make this star over everything truly worth it and get the best for it. Not take it under your mind and just say, you know what, I'm just going to say no to this guy I never heard of, which everybody fucking heard of. And we don't know, we could be talking about who is it. I mean, it could be a lot of different names. I'm not here to really guess, but it's not really the name that's the point. It's the judgment call, the treatment of this situation by our front office, by Stephen Jones.
How he handled it, regardless of whoever the heck it was that was being dangled in front of us.
Correct.
As a little carrot.
Maybe we would never have gotten him. Maybe it's the wrong player position. You said it.
Exactly.
Contract, or we want to trade.
But it feels a lot better to say no after you've spoken to Will McClay, let him look at the draft board,
after
give
everyone
us some
knows.
feedback. Exactly.
The coaches, scouts.
Just
it's incredible.
Mind-blowing.
It's incredible. It's bad already. We knew it was bad. Didn't know it was this bad. I guess that's what it is there, Mark. I just didn't think it was this bad. I knew it was clown show, but I didn't know they were this dumb. And when you talk about any issue on this team, we could go to the player, to the coaches, and there's always problems there, but it all originates from these guys, from Stephen Jones now, but it's the clown show way, and it continues with Stephen Jones. Now, all that said, guys, any last comments? These are the shout-outs here, baby, and call it a night.
Of course.
You give the comments comments and the shout-outs together.
Yeah.
Because the quickie is done. It's under an hour and a half tonight, an hour and 15 minutes. And we try to get tonight's information out. Tomorrow will not be live. We should be back again, ready to roll. Talk about the Quinn situation. Probably more details on that by Wednesday, hopefully. So we'll see. But yes, hit everybody up in the chat, baby. Comments, last shout-outs, and call it a night here in MCF.
Of course. So, Cleveland Brown, much love.
Yes.
I appreciate you for being here. Mike Aldana representing, saying, what was the name of the podcast?
All about man, now I gotta go back looking for it. Give me a moment here and I'll find it.
All right, I'll give you a second there to find it. Eastside Herald. Hello, here to talk real football, right?
It's
Jason
called
Renfro, much love.
It's from The Athletic, and it's called About Them Cowboys.
There you go.
Yeah, and so again, it's run by The Athletic, About Them Cowboys, and Kent Garrison was the guest who was speaking, who was their audio-visual guy for their media stuff for them.
Let me see here. Of course, a big mahalo to Marco Seppian.
Yes, the sponsor of the week, third place on the overall board, fully loaded as our stream boss. Again, sponsor of the week, back to back, like our '90s Cowboys.
So. Now let me keep going here with the shout-outs. Snug X, much love. You know why he's here. Cleveland Brown representing. Jason Renfro, much love. Of course, the mahalo to Marco Seppian again. Yeah, Bruce got the Toxic Juice, Pioneer. Cleveland Brown. Aztec Aguilar 04, Traveling Fools, Dan O.
Traveling Fools in the house, huh? Dan back in the spot.
No, let me see here. I'm just trying to make sure I don't miss anybody.
Yeah.
Xavier Hidalgo, Jason Renfro.
Let me also throw out there the Cash App King, or I should say the Queen.
Yeah.
Marissa Sparkle, much love to you. She's running that part of the thing. We got JD from DC running the gifting membership side of things. 2 weeks in a row, back to back, like our '90s Cowboys, like Marco Seppian. Marissa Sparkle, much love. And our leader currently on the overall board is the same person who's leading the Cash App board. It's Stanley Smith in the house. Much love to him. Of course, him in first place, Snug X in second, Marco Seppian right there behind him in third as we're kicking off a brand new week. Appreciate everybody repping the boards here, dropping the love, dropping the thoughts in the chat. Cannot do this without you guys and your 2 cents on our Cowboys. So, any other names there? Maybe shout-outs before we head out for the night?
No, that's everybody here on my side.
So, baby, I do want to know from you. Yes, guests as well in the chat, like SnugX. In the house, 8 months in the Navy Blue crew. Read it loud, read it proud, baby. What did the man say?
Damn, MCW, fine.
Hell yeah. Agree. See, SnugX, he knows that we agree. Hey, right, man. Appreciate you, baby. I want you to tell everybody and SnugX, why do we do this every single night here on MCF, my Cowboys family? Almost every night.
It's that navy blue, that silver too, and that star over everything.
You know it. Win, lose, or draw, good, bad, or ugly, we always rep that star over everything. And of course, here on my Cowboys family for 6.5+ years. Never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever. As always, go Cowboys. Let's get that 6 and beyond, and let's please get it before the Niners. So that means Kansas City, win this game, please. Thank you all for dropping your knowledge in the chat. Cannot do this without your guys' input on our Dallas Cowboys. And of course, truly appreciate the drops of love from above. SnugX, Markov Seppian, Stanley Smith, repping that star here with us on my Cowboys family over everything. As we drop out and clock out for the night, we lock and reload for another show tomorrow, Wednesday. Tomorrow, no show. Unless there's a breaking news situation, we might be able to get a quickie, a real quickie, like a standalone video. So keep your eyes out for that. But outside of that, we'll see you on Wednesday once again here on my Cowboys family. Baby, we wrap it up here. What do we got to do here on the show before we drop out of here for the night?
We gotta drop the beat.
Hell yeah. Beat's been dropped. It's a wrap here on my Cowboys family. And in case you guys didn't know, you can go over to MCF After Dark. I should be doing a little something there, a little relaxation stream. We'll hang there for a little bit, maybe an hour or so. Maybe have some panel members, some music, maybe a drink or two. Either way, we'll have some fun there, guys. Thank you. Have a good night. Stay safe and all that good stuff. And of course, here, as we wrap up it should have been a Cowboys chat, I guess, at this point. It was a Cowboy Quickie, right? Talked about it, what we needed to talk about with mainly Dan Quinn, some draft stuff, and of course, Stephen Jones' takeover. And malfunctioning. More malfunctioning in this front office and on this team, unfortunately, from the top. It hurts. So we had to talk about it. Here at MCF, it's always about that navy blue, that silver too, that star over everything. Never forget the number one thing right here in my Cowboys family. Much love to everyone in the house with us tonight, all of you guys here. Don't forget to hit that like for the stream, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you know I'm going live almost on the nightly, pretty much on the nightly. And of course on all social media, Twitter, X, at MyCowboysFamily. We'll see you back here on Wednesday, guys. Stay safe, peace out, have a good night, and never forget, ever forget, go Cowboys!